Might be my cue to head over to IDP, guys.
No worries, no worries. All right. And we are live in the Fantasy Football Lounge for week 11. Welcome into the SGPN Fantasy Football Lounge. I'm your host, Justin Bruni, for this Sunday. Joining me so far is Gary, the IDP tipster. How we doing, sir?
Good. How are you, Justin?
Can't complain. Busy. Things are going
Right.
good over here.
Yeah.
We're at week 11, man. We're rolling right along here. Got just a few weeks left of the fantasy regular season.
Mm-hmm.
You are our general IDP content manager, so we're going to jump right into some IDP content here right out of the gate.
Sweet.
Start some IDP start or sit conversations. Let's see. What do you think about L'Jarius Sneed this week versus Sion Taki? Is that it? Am I doing that right? Taki?
Yeah, we just call him Taki.
Taki.
Taki or Taki. Either one you want to roll with there, man. It's just it's simpler. But yeah, I like him. Out of the three Cleveland linebackers, you got to like him the most.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about him on the IDP Pro Players Pod. Talked him up. He's just been a tackle machine for them, and that is exactly why they started inserting him about 3 or 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. It's why the coach stated that we want his tackle ability out there. So, at this point, he's been the most consistent. And in the timeshares, he was the only one to jump up to 100% with JOK out last week. So his matchup is solid, and I do believe he'll perform well, but I don't think it's like necessarily a complete LB1 sure lock. He'll probably be like a low N, low B LB1, but good solid play, good pickup, if you need to go there. I could think of some more secure guys. We don't have to question it at all about the scenario that they're in on the field, though. But it depends what your other options might be.
What's going on with Deion Jones? Is he like an IDP asset that you're trusting going forward? Because I got him on my bench this week.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're going to play anybody from Cleveland, it's going to be Taki or Taki, whatever. He's definitely the most secure on paper. Deion Jones, JOK comes back. They're going to start doing this whole 3-headed rotation thing again, probably. It doesn't look like Deion Jones's contract has locked him into any, 100% anything. Of course, they could be looking at the future. So right now, their main dude is this Taki. Rest of them, even JOK, I'd bench until further notice.
Fair enough. What do you think about Jack's running back to the well for Jack Sanborn this week? Had an impressive performance last week. Oh, I was just trying to pull up his numbers.
What really impressed me about him is they gave it a couple of weeks here, and then we go, start looking at the film. Let him knock the rust off of whatever has to happen, get the butterflies out of his stomach. And I mean, he's not like right on par, but considering his draft stock, his situation, I mean, he's just under par. So he's been a little bit more impressive than like Harris with Tennessee, which got his shot just a little bit before Sanborn, who's just completely, you go check his PFF, and I mean, it just speaks for itself. It's like a 21 still or something, unless it's nudged up a little bit, but it's still really poor. So I like Sanborn. I like his dynasty options too. This week they have who?
Atlanta, run heavy team.
That's another one of those mediocre. But one thing we see about Sanborn is, yes, he's done it for 2 weeks in a row. He's kind of overachieving.
Had 2 sacks last week, so I don't know if we're going to get that type of those big booming splash plays. But
right.
I was going to ask you between him and Julian Love, who's got Detroit on the books. Pretty good matchup, I think, for kind of like a safety defensive back hybrid. What I'm assuming you're going to go Sanborn there, just based off of all the pleasant things you just said about him.
Loves, I mean, yeah, he's a good play, but
he took kind of a dip last week. He had just 5 tackles last week.
Right.
But the weeks prior, at least in my scoring format, he had 7, 9, 10, and 11 points. Those were matchups up against Seattle, Jacksonville, Baltimore, and Green Bay. I have to believe that Detroit and Dallas, and even DC, the next 3 matchups are all really good matchups to roll him out.
Oh, love Dallas. The Dallas matchup is top 2, top 3 right now. When it comes to Detroit, it's kind of mediocre. I would go Sanborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
That's
think
what I was thinking, just based off of what you were saying about him.
Right. Yeah, I think I would in this matchup. Things have changed a little bit too with the Giants. I mean, they've worked Jalen Smith in, Teo Crowder, which has been an IDP gold mine for the last couple of years, just all of a sudden took a huge hit. They're just, they've lost McKinney. Now they're getting Dan Belton in there. I don't know. There seems to be a little bit of adjusting, but Love is still a really good, solid safety play. It's just when the point margin, if I've got to go between a mediocre, I'm going to go by position, because if you look, then the split goes higher. There's more points on the table. So, yeah, by position. It's just how it works out on inside linebacker versus a safety normally. So I got to lean that way, either way it goes.
I got a tougher one for you.
Okay.
Damar Hamlin, safety for the Bills. Or
it's not going to be that tough.
Really? Okay. Bobby Okereke of the Colts.
Oh shit! Yeah, it is tough because they're both in excellent situation this week. I mean, I don't think you could go wrong. Hamlin's a great defensive back play, but between the two, I'm going to lean the same way. I'm going to go linebacker. The point differential between just an overall safety to linebacker, what's allowed, that margin is usually fairly nice. So yeah, just leaning when you got it like that, it's that close of a hair. I go linebacker just because of the position point.
All right. Let's break into some props here. I'm gonna pull up some player props for defense here.
I got 3 of them line up my ringers. I hit last week. The one I came on at the end and I got them on here right before we closed. And the big one was Boggs, Isaiah Boggs of Detroit Lions. Last week. They had him for a sack. He's an interior defensive lineman. It doesn't do anything but basically like a nose tackle almost. He's a run stopper, hole filler, and he hadn't had a sack all year. It's just that they had some movement in Detroit where Charles Harris went down. Julian Okereke actually got more playing time. But I was expecting to see him there replacing Boggs this week, and they did not. So Boggs is there again. But last week it was like negative 330, and I went on the under. So it was a nice little hit.
I like it.
But he's good again this week, and his spread's nice. So
listen to this number. This is a really tall tackle. It's total tackles and assists. Alex Anzalone at 7.5 today. What do you think?
And they're going. Let me look.
They got Barkley and the Giants. It's a kind of a big number, I feel like.
Well, in the process of doing this, I'm not shy. I'll share. So I'm looking in first red flag that I see, at least some points allowed, they're bottom 4. Believe it or not, the linebackers are just blocking into that second level is what I'm guessing. So to me, that number might be a little bit high when you consider everybody else is going to get theirs, especially when what the Giants are good at is allowing points to the safeties because they're getting past that second level.
Right.
So it's not that I'd go the under on Anzalone, actually.
I like the under as well. That's kind of where I was going there. I just felt like it was a really tall number. I do like in that game. Aiden Hutchinson at 3.5. I like him to get four tackles because again, this is tackles and assists combined. I think that's a pretty friendly number. And
it's actually a friendly defensive end matchup.
Right. Let me check on.
I almost wanted to pick him
Sanborn. For nothing.
Yeah. They're kind of at the beginning of the year. DraftKings was using tackles, and assist and sacks. Now they're just doing tackles and assists.
A pretty popular name going around the IDP fantasy community, Richie Grant, been a big name in the past couple of weeks.
He's got a good matchup.
Good matchup against the Bears. He's got 5.5. I like that. I like him to go over that number. What do you think?
Yeah, it's pushing it. What's his What's his average? Let me look at him for a minute. Here's what his average.
I don't know the average. Just the matchup and just kind of all the positives flowing his way these past couple of weeks. Feels like a pretty good one.
I like him. His spread's 5.5. Let's see. He's been averaging 8, 11. Yeah, it's a solid line. It's a solid bet. You know what I mean?
What was his last
I would
3
take
weeks?
I'd take the over. Huh?
What was his
the
last
last
3
3
weeks?
weeks he's had 8. Let's see. Yep, 8 last week, 11 the week before, 6 before then, 4. That's his only downfall was versus the Bengals, which it's because the Bengals' line sucks so bad. They, so either way, and then it goes back to 6. So overall, he's hit way more than he's missed on 5 tackles or more.
All right. I like it.
Yeah.
Let me see another number I can find. Colts and Eagles, expecting a good amount of running in that game. Kaiser White, 7.5. I like the under there. That feels a little tall, no? Against the Colts.
Colts
I mean, it's a good matchup. Don't get me wrong. Like, you're going to be running into a lot of Jonathan Taylor.
I'm going to ask
sure.
you your offensive opinion. Are they going to come out running the ball?
The Colts, yeah. Jeff Saturday's the coach.
Well,
yeah. They're going to come out and
Kaiser White gets about 70 or 80% of the snaps. TJ Edwards is just going to eat this game.
That's his number's at 8.5. So they both can't get to those numbers, right?
Right. And if I'm taking a bet, I'm betting it's Kaiser White that does it, because you're also looking at I know this sounds old hat, but where are they at? Indianapolis is also top 10 in allowing points to the safety. Gardner would be a nice bet on there. Matter of fact, it's in my prop bets this week, I believe. So they take him.
Gardner Johnson is at 5.5, and that's plus 100. I like that. Okay.
All right. Let's make
That's
sure.
the play, huh?
I'm double checking myself. All right. No. My main play was Harrison Smith with Dallas. They only got him at 5.5. I took the over. Dallas and Minnesota. That was my sure shot. But
I'm also seeing him at 5.5.
Gardner, like I said, I stick to 3. Gardner was right up there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was like I was splitting hairs. I had to look again.
Sure.
My other one was Lorenzo Carter. Take the over on his sack.
Oh, all right. I'm going to get some of these questions here really quick in the chat for the Dirty O. We've got need to stream a tight end, Foster, Morrow, Conklin, or Knox. I'm going Foster, Morrow just because of the opportunity in the offense. Conklin going to be struggling for targets. Knox, he always needs a touchdown. Feel like Foster, Morrow can still get 5 or 6 targets, 40 to 50 receiving yards. And outside of Devontae Adams, you really don't have many pass catching options behind him. Waller out, Renfro out. Mac Hollins, he could be a decent option today, but it's the Denver defense. They've been pretty solid. So I trust Foster Morrow the most out of those deep collection of tight ends. Do I start Pollard over Melvin Gordon at RB2? Yes, absolutely, 1,000%. Don't care if Zeke is playing. Denver offense just not as explosive whatsoever. Pollard just has that jump. Just great footwork, great speed. Much better start than Melvin Gordon, easily. ETN and Walker are on buys for me, and Aaron Jones is my other RB. Yeah, Pollard and Aaron Jones should see you through to a Week 11 victory. Let's get it. Paris Campbell or Michael Carter? Ooh, that is a tough one. Still going Michael Carter because total volume, always my king, right? That's where I'm always going to go with the great divider when you're looking at like the rankings and things are really close. Michael Carter should have more touches in that game. Paris Campbell could come with a touchdown and wind up scoring more fantasy points, but I feel like Michael Carter has the safer floor there. Sit 1, PPR, Jamal Williams, Swift, Brian Robinson. That's tough. It's tough for me to say to sit Brian Robinson this week, given his juicy matchup. Houston just loves to give up fantasy points on the ground. It's going to sound crazy, but I'm going to say sit DeAndre Swift. Jamal Williams has the rushing touchdown upside. I do believe Williams finds the end zone this week. Swift, man, it's just really hard to trust right now, especially if you're like really, really needing a win. I would still sit Swift. Robinson and Williams could have some pretty big weeks here. All right, let's go jump back to some IDP talk. We got, let's see, Steelers and the Bengals. Miles Jack is sitting at 7.5. Joe Mixon coming off a couple of pretty good games. Is that a good number to chase?
Yeah, last week he was actually lined up to have a really nice matchup, and then he got hurt in the middle of the week. They ended up keeping him out for basically precautionary reasons, but he's supposed to return this week. I like that bet. Yes, it's solid. Bengals are up there number one right now, allowing points to the linebackers. So, and then we just seen what they just did with Mixon. So I like this. I like this. It should be a good matchup from the get-go.
Let's see if I can get into sacks. No, we talked about sacks a little bit. Let's do interceptions. Let's talk about some of the DBs. Chiefs and Chargers, got to be a lot of throwing in that game. Juan Thornhill or Nazir Adderley, who's more likely to get an interception in that big Chargers-Chiefs matchup?
I'm looking. Pause. Long silent pause.
Oh, you're good.
I'm going to go with, give me the options again.
Juan Thornhill of the Chiefs or Nazir Adderley of the Chargers.
Not Adderley. Not Adderley. Not Adderley. Yeah. If you're that's the tough thing about calling something on interceptions. Is there actually a line? Am I missing a line? I'm going to be honest because I use DraftKings. So they don't have an interception line.
So I've got Thornhill at plus 475 and I've got Adderley at plus 625.
You need to send me that link, sir.
I got you.
Right.
I got you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. It's not been illegal in Ohio. So I'm just really rolling. This is my first year dipping into it. I've got a plus par record going on. So this the whole interceptions and stuff. That's another door before I actually start giving straight hard advice. I can tell you, Adderley, no.
All right, fair enough.
They'd have to walk up and he's an afterthought in that defense anymore.
We got the TD King checking in early here. How we doing, sir?
What's going on, fellas? How's everybody feeling?
Great.
Sunday, can't beat it. It's the day of rest and day of football. It's been a busy week, so excited to get some football on the dock today. How are you feeling, sir?
Good. Yeah, everything's good. Fantasy's rolling along, but I can't lie, man. Since I have a team, in 53rd in the Best Ball Mania, that's kind of taken my attention, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on for the next 4 weeks is that team because there is a possibility.
Let's get the roster so we can cheer alongside you.
Yep, let me pull it up here real quick. I know the quarterbacks are Josh Allen and Justin Fields. So obviously, Fields coming on now is really helping this team a whole lot. Let me pull it open here. All right, so we got Justin Fields and Josh Allen, and then running backs are Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne, Ken Walker, James Robinson, Brian Robinson, and then TDP, which obviously Tyrion Davis-Price is it's a big zero the rest of the year.
Got to take your L's where you can. It's all good.
Yeah, it is what it is. Wide receivers are Steph Diggs, Devontae Smith, Darnell Mooney, Christian Kirk, MVS, George Pickens, and then Romeo Dobbs, which obviously Dobbs isn't going to help this team in the next 4 weeks. Tight ends, Dawson Knox, Cole Kmet, and Taysom Hill. So it's a hodgepodge of guys that just happen to be coming on at the right time here. And now I'll take it. I am about 74 points off of the top scoring team. So there is a chance. 4 weeks left.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm
excited about that.
It's only like what, like $1 million?
Yeah. $1 million if you are the lead team. So I don't want to get too excited. I usually try not to let myself get too excited about these things because then you get so excited to just not finish in first and then you have a massive letdown. But feel pretty good going in.
I've been there a little more recently than some might think.
That's it. I'm outnumbered. I'm out of here. The dirty O takes over. Have a nice weekend, gentlemen.
Yeah, you too. Jump back in later too. What's up, Dave? How we doing, boss?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. A little tired. it's Sunday. We're here to rest and talk some football. So ready to get after it. We'll dive into some starter sit questions. We got the offensive boys, dynasty guys in here. So let's dive right in. Try to pull up some questions I have saved here. Keenan Allen, we are going to wait for Sebastian on. Let's see. How you guys feel about starting Mark Andrews this week? That is a real thing. Injury not related to that.
It's tough, man. I'm doing my rankings before the show, and you look at the matchup against Carolina, and it's like you would be considering him potentially the number 1 overall this week, and he's questionable. And we saw it last time. He played through the injury, played 1 drive, got 6 fantasy points, and left the rest of the game. So at least hedge your bets and put him in the top 24, because if he plays any snaps, he's going to produce.
Yeah, that's my thoughts. Is like is he going to play the whole game? That's the main question. If he plays the whole game, I mean, he's definitely going to start. If not, like I have a start sit question between him and Cole Kmet. Who do I start? And I honestly don't know. I mean, Cole Kmet's at least going to play the whole game, like guaranteed, barring any weird injuries. But right. Mark Andrews, I mean, the ceiling is so much higher there. So I don't know. It's a tough one.
What do we? Well, like I think that's a good question. Like, I mean, between Cole Kmet, who now feels safer, I don't think that like he's a sure lock start. Like he has that like world of trust behind him, but it looks a lot better now with the way that Fields is playing. Where would you go with that starter sit, Dave? I mean, would you feel comfortable enough to fling Kmet in there to save the day, or just go with this, the perceived safe floor?
It's a guillotine league, so like you need to score.
So your answer matters more now, Dave.
Yeah. So you gotta go with the safe play there, because if Andrews goes out and gooses you, then you're in a tough spot. But that at least is a 1:00 game. The tough part with like the Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Kyler Murray is those are late games. And so like you have to make decisions now. So Andrews, we should know ahead of time. So if Andrews plays and they say he's going to play, then you play Andrews. But it's risky.
It is. I also worry that they get up to a big lead and then take him out halfway through the game. So he plays half the game too. Like it's such a weird predicament with him, because we've already seen it where he'll go in, gets points, gets re-injured, and then they take him out, and here comes Isaiah Likely. So that's a tough one for people.
Yeah,
what if he was out? Like what if they said, hey, he's out?
If he was out, I'm playing Likely.
Okay, that's exactly where I was going to go. So if you had Likely or Cole Kmet, you would go Likely?
Yep, only due to the fact of I don't know who else Baltimore's going to throw the ball to. I mean, they have a hodgepodge of wide receivers as is. I know Likely is at least somebody that they like to get it, to in the red zone. They like to get him involved. Not that Kmet isn't getting involved, but I also fear that Justin Fields can just run all over the Atlanta team if he needs to. So it's a weird. I would much rather have Andrews out and just play Likely, but between Andrews and Kmet, it's tough.
I do think that's a likely scenario because it's Carolina. It is Carolina, and they don't need him. And so, like, why would you take your best receiver and put him in any harm's way? So, and do they have the bye week next week coming up or something like that? Like, just would make a lot of sense.
I think they just came off their bye week.
Yes, they off their bye.
So it would still just make sense to give Andrews a break if he's not 100%. So that's why I'm saying if they do play him, I'm playing him.
All right, let's jump into the chat. We've got Olave or Kadarius Toney in, I'm assuming PPR. I'm going to go Olave there. Olave. Still just like him a lot. Save for floor, in my opinion. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I got Olave ranked higher. I can pull my rankings up right now, but I do like Toney this week, especially with the injuries. But I do have it with Olave as a top 20 play. Let's see.
There's really not a format where we're going to change our answer either. It's not like standard or half point. This changes, so it's pretty clear.
Yeah, and mine are all 0.5. But I have Olave at 12, and I have Toney at 26.
Gotcha. All right. Rob Perez in the chat. Appreciate the question, sir. DJ Moore, Ayuk, Devonta Smith, Kenyon Drake, Paris Campbell, start 3, full point PPR. Ayuk feels safe. Devonta Smith, I guess.
Yeah, I would say Devonta Smith for sure. Is Gus Edwards playing?
I believe he's active.
Man, I'd really like to play Kenyon Drake, but
I feel like Paris Campbell's the answer here. No? Do you guys trust DJ Moore or Paris Campbell?
Man, that's tough. I feel like DJ Moore should get more opportunities.
Well, we're going to Baker again this week. We got another quarterback change.
I haven't seen any recent updates, but what I have is from Jeff Mueller. Mark Andrews looks like he's going to play. Gus Edwards unlikely to play.
Unlikely to play.
Yeah, in my eyes,
Rappaport said the same thing.
So if that's the case, it's probably Devontae Smith, Kenyon Drake, and either Ayuk or Paris Campbell for me, leaving DJ Moore out. I do like DJ Moore's opportunities, but the targets he's been getting are so not valuable due to the quarterback situation. So I'd probably just leave him on the bench and just, is what it is.
Agreed.
All right, cool. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Darius Slayton.
Devonta Smith versus zone is just nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be a big day.
Yeah, Devonta Smith is not terrible against man, but he is a coverage leader. Like if they run zone coverage, he just knows how to sit in the pocket. He's just so intelligent out there. And then going back to Paris Campbell, there was a lot of talk this year about how Nyheim Hines was going to have 100 targets, and those have just gone to Paris Campbell. Like his average depth of target is like 3. He's their dump off guy, their slot guy. He's taken over that, and with Matt Ryan's propensity to just drop it down, like he's been really good the last couple weeks.
No, he's looked really solid. That's why I said, other than Ayuk, he's really the only other lock there. The other ones are pretty questionable. Darius Slayton's coming off a really big week. Wanted to throw a starter sit question his way. Darius Slayton or Devin Duvernay. Andrew, you had mentioned they might run up the score against Carolina here. Who do you like here? Both are nice, deep play options. Both have a nice change of pace, some legs or some speed under their legs. What do you like here?
I take Darius Slayton there just due to the fact of I think he's going to get more targets, more opportunities than Duvernay will. Duvernay is one of those guys that could have a big play, due to his ability. But I mean, honestly, I don't see him getting more than maybe 5 targets or so. I could see Slayton get upwards of 8, 9, 10, in this game. So yeah, I would definitely take Darius Slayton. It doesn't matter format.
I just like the matchup for Slayton. That's the only reason why I'd go over him. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, it's the only thing that concerns me is Okudah. If he travels with Slayton now that, because Slayton's not used to being the number 1. But they're finding ways to get him open, and he's been playing really well. If you play him, just be prepared. He will drop a ball or two. Like that's the problem with him. But I mean, and he's been getting valuable targets. I think he's averaging 17, 18 yards a target. Like he's not getting little dink and dunks. And so even if he does only get 6 targets today, he could have 100 air yards. And so
I don't know what his ADOT is at now, but I believe going into last week, it was at like 15. So it's got to be higher.
Yeah, like like the other day, he took a shorter pass and turned it into a huge play. But normally they're just like, he's their big play guy. He's their speed guy. And so they're doing on the deep play action passes and they're taking shots. He's their guy and they're valuable targets. And the Lions give up big plays more than anybody else.
Oh, absolutely agree. To me, that's the matchup. I think Duvernay is going to have a great usage in this Carolina game. I just feel that the matchup is much better for Slayton. So whenever you can target your matchup up against Detroit, like you got to lock stock that in your lineup.
Yep.
We got Jacob in the chat. Appreciate the question, sir. Need 1 RB and 1 flex in PPR. Boyd, Drake, Gus is out. Appreciate that. Patterson and Swift. 1 RB and 1 flex. I like Boyd and Patterson. Drake feels a little bit safer, but Patterson's got a really good matchup up against the Bears.
I'm just checking my rankings here.
Gosh, this should not be hard with Swift in this question.
You still like Swift? Jamal Williams is just that touchdown machine, man.
No, but I'm saying it shouldn't be. It is hard. But it shouldn't be.
I was going to say, I was like...
But Tyler Boyd, PFF put out he is the number 2 best matchup against the. He's number 2 matchup in the slate today, and I think it's going to be a big Boyd game. So give me Boyd for sure, and then the other ones I'll go back to the rankings. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I have Boyd and Patterson per my rankings. I mean, definitely Boyd for sure, but out of those running backs, yeah, I would say Patterson. For me, actually, Patterson and Drake are kind of close, but I'd probably go Patterson. He definitely has that red zone role as well. So,
just a very minor, low key revenge game. He was like the biggest thing on social media for the Bears there for a minute. How about them Bears? Just saying.
Yeah, and
revenge game.
The Bears were better against the run earlier in the season. Now they've gotten rid of Robert Quinn. They've gotten rid of Roquan Smith. And Patterson's usage last time, like it was a Thursday night game, didn't really do much. And so people are going to drop him down the rankings or sit him. I actually have Patterson as my
and that Sunday before the Thursday game too, he also played very, very well and had a lot of usage. I think that was kind of anticipated because of how deep their running back room is. You also have Mariota, who's going to do work with his legs. So I just think that was kind of apparent to happen. Fantasy
Pros talks about this, and you see it a lot. You saw with Aaron Jones this week, where people play on Sunday. They play really well. They got a high amount of touches, and on Thursday they don't do as well. And so I think 10 days to rest for Patterson. He has a good day.
Absolutely. We got Ryan H in the chat. Appreciate you, Ryan. Darius Slayton, Kadarius Toney, Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, Brandon Ayuk. Start 3 in a standard league. Tough. Ayuk to me is the biggest lock. I think I go Slayton and Toney behind him. It's just tough to trust Palmer and Allen with Allen potentially coming back, Williams coming back. Might just be a big Gerald Everett week for all we know. It's hard to trust my Chargers right now.
Yeah, and Gerald Everett was downgraded to questionable yesterday.
I saw that too this morning. I was like, what the hell happened? I was like, what?
Downgraded on a Saturday is not good news. So I'm definitely I'm concerned that he's not going to play. It is the Chiefs, so I do like the matchup. And I think, like you said, Ayuk is the easy one. And then I'll take Slayton and Toney just because I don't want to mess with it with Keenan Allen and Josh Palmer. I'm probably going to be wrong on one of those guys, but I just don't know which one's going to be right.
Man. Yeah, it's Ayuk and Toney for sure. Oh, man, Palmer and Slayton. I'll go Palmer. I just think that they're going to need to throw the ball a shit ton to keep up with the Chiefs. So I'll go Palmer over Slayton, but it's close for me.
Concerned about the wind in the Slayton game. What's the weather like in with the G-men there, Dave?
I'll check it out.
Sticking with that Kansas City and Chargers game, with Juju being out, do you guys have any love for a deep play in, say, Justin Watson? What would you say if you're looking at Justin Watson or Ben Skoranek?
Oh, Ben Skoranek, just due to the fact I think he's going to get more opportunities, because you still have MVS there as well. Tony, MVS, Kelsey, Pacheco. I feel like, Justin could be 5th on the pecking order there. I would take Skoranek between those two.
Okay. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, if it's PPR, Skoranek, he's going to get a lot of targets. They're not all going to go to Allen Robinson. The weather is not good. So the Giants weather report today, sunny with a high near 38. Wind chill values between 25 and 30. Breezy with a west wind 17 to 22 miles per hour with gusts as high as 32.
Man, big Barkley day then.
Okay, then. Yeah, I was going to say those underdog Barkley lineups. Let's go. Let's cash those out.
Yeah, I could use a big Barkley day. That's my lead dog on my best ball team. So.
You said Barkley?
Yeah.
Well, I do too. So I'll be right there with you. I'll be right there with you.
Oh no! I'm talking about Best Ball Mania.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah,
well, there I will not be. No,
that's team I have. That's a lights out right now.
Let's go. You guys starting any of the Eagles tight ends?
No. DFS, I think Stoll's interesting for DFS. You know, you can get a mad cheap, but as far as any redraft or dynasty, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, it's the same with the Giants. Like last week, I told them, I said, if you guys want a free prop, like Tanner Hudson, 2.5 catches for, it was like 16.5 yards. I'm like, just take it. Like, it's going to happen. And it did. And he had like 3 catches for 30 yards. Not going to be great for your fantasy points, but it's a free prop. Like the Giants they do a ton of play action. They roll the tight ends out. They use the tight ends in the red zone quite a bit. And of course, like the tight end, the tight end that caught the touchdown last week wasn't Tanner Hudson. I thought it was, but it was Michael. But they use the tight end so well in the red zone. Almost every week, a different tight end has scored a touchdown with Daniel Bellinger and the rest of the crew. So see that again today with some easy props for the Giants tight ends.
Going to switch to the quarterback position here. What do you guys think about Marcus Mariota or Russell Wilson this week?
4-point or 6-point?
6-point.
Russ.
Yeah. It's gross, but the Raiders are so bad.
It's gross. All right, I'm gonna give some love to Marcus Mariota. I think he gets one with his legs today. I like the matchup up against the Bears. Bears have been scoring a lot of points. Feels like the game flow is there. I cannot trust that Broncos offense. And you know what? Next year, if the situation is similar, like they still have Russ and everything, maybe that's when I'm going to get caught. Because this year, I was kind of spot on about Russ, but maybe next year will be the year that I fade the whole roster and they'll boom. But man, I'm staying off that team this year.
Coming into the year, they said that they were going through Aaron Rodgers' numbers under the Nathaniel Hackett offense, and they were like, he had half the touchdowns. But the second year he doubled them, and so like he had 35 or 40 touchdowns, dropped it down, and then went right back up. That first year just takes a while. I don't know. That's what they said. And maybe the Broncos are just a mess. Russ apparently is calling Seahawks audibles in the line. The left tackle's out. They're a hot mess.
That's awesome. We don't have that play here, pal. We don't have it in the book.
Yeah, the linemen are like, "What are you like?" He's like, "Yeah, check to this." So like, what? Like, timeout. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
We got Cole Kmet or Greg Dulcich from Shades721 in the chat. Appreciate you, Shades.
Man, they are like right beside each other.
They're back to back. I just did my rankings. They are back to back. So it's like Dulcich is a nice dynasty tight end. I said my tight end rankings. But yeah, these are back to back. It's nice that you got both of them. Let's see who I ended up putting first.
I got Kmet way higher, actually. I mean, I like Dulcich, but I chased Evan Ingram in that matchup up against the Raiders. Oh, the Raiders give up the third most fantasy points to the tight end position. He didn't do anything. You know what I mean? And I chased the Cade Otton matchup last week as well against the Seahawks. That was a very favorable matchup. Seahawks allowing the most fantasy points to the tight end position.
Christian Kirk lit the Raiders up. So it's just kind of where the fantasy points flow.
Right.
And you got Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy's he's out. You got a banged up KJ Hamler. Tim Patrick's been out all year, and Devontae. And so, yeah, like I think those Jeudy targets are going to go to Dulcich, and they're not going to go to Kendall Hinton. So I'll go with him, but it's just one spot higher. I have Dulcich at 8 and Kmet at 9.
Yeah, I'll take Dulcich. I know there's really no difference to me between the two of them, honestly. I do like that Jerry Jeudy's out though, so that really helps Dulcich. If Jeudy was in, I would definitely go Kmet, but I'll go with Dulcich. I like the matchup too, even though Kmet has a good matchup as well. So I mean, you're good either way, man.
And standard is tough. You just look.
Well, yeah, you need the tutty. You need the tutty. Oh, let's see. Najee Harris versus Cincinnati. Michael Carter at New England. What do you guys think?
Jesus. PPR.
Yes, sir.
Let me change my settings here. Yeah, I'd go Harris. Yeah,
I got Harris at 23, Carter at 27.
Pretty close.
Yeah, Harris.
I have Harris a little bit higher as well. I have him at 22 and Carter at 25, so pretty close. I just think he gets just a little bit more volume, and the Patriots have been a very good matchup up against the running back position. So even if he were to get like some big chunk plays, I feel like they're going to hold him out of the end zone today. I'll do one more running back, and we can get into some props. We already talked about Cordell. I don't want to get too deep here. Devin Singletary or DeAndre Swift?
That's a good one.
I got to feel Singletary here. I mean, he's been a little bit more consistent recently, at least in just like the game plan. Like I feel like his usage has been a little bit more friendlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I'd probably go Singletary as well. I actually think this is an Amron game. He hasn't scored a touchdown in a little bit. I think that's the positive regression's about to come. I could see this being a huge game for him. So yeah, let's go Singletary.
What do you think, Dave?
I'm going to Singletary matchup.
Easy. Rushing or receiving props? What do you guys want?
Let's go receiving.
Receiving. Yards or catches?
Surprise me.
Surprise you.
I feel like playing Jeopardy.
Do. Let's go to the Cowboys and Vikings. We haven't talked about that game much. Let's see. CeeDee Lamb, 6 catches. Feels like a safe number up against a Minnesota defense that loves to get feasted on by receivers.
Yeah, over.
What is the over?
What is the over? All right. Let's double back into that game with the yards then. Let's see where we can boom on this. Get some double down action here. Lamb is at 72 receiving yards. 82. That's at minus 251. At 120 minus 126, it's at 82. 6 for 82?
6 for 82.
Feels doable.
Yeah, Underdog has it at 79.5.
Well, they're a friendlier brand. That's for certain. I always love me some Underdog numbers. You know what I don't love about Underdog is they're not accessible in the great state of Maryland. That's what I don't appreciate about them.
Yeah, I'll still go over. This game could be very high scoring, so take that shot.
That's what I'm feeling here. A really friendly number that I like is TJ Hawkinson's receiving 47. I'll take him for over 50.
Yep. Yeah, yes, Underdog's at 46.5.
Okay. So even friendly numbers. God, I miss Underdog so much. Dude, I swear, like everyone that asked me about, like, oh, you know, how do you do with the books or whatever? I was like, not as good as I do at Underdog. Not as good as I do over there. CMC at the Cardinals. He has some friendly numbers here. 36 receiving yards. I like that.
36. Does it say the catches? How many?
I can tell you in a second. I was just about to come back down to that.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how many catches they think that's going to be.
Let's see.
I just got the notification from Underdog. What if I told you the Eagles are fake and Jeff Saturday is real?
It's hilarious. But also there's like some minute truth to that. 4 to 5 catches for CMC. So 4 catches is minus 286. 5 catches is minus 122. So
okay.
They're saying he's not going to do much with it. I feel like the yards prop is more friendlier.
Yes, I would. Yeah, if I'm going to take between the two, I'll take the yardage.
What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the yardage. I think, I mean, we're all spooked a little bit by the usage with Elijah Mitchell. And yeah, the 49ers, they're the favorites in the NFC right now. And so protecting their investment of Christian McCaffrey is extremely important. And seeing like his touches were literally cut in half last week is a concern. So I'll go the yardage and hope that he breaks one versus the volume. because I don't know what his volume is going to be.
I mean, I still have to feel like he's going to be like a big concentration in the offense.
Oh, it's like he had 20 touches. If I told you that your starting running back got 20 touches, you're a pretty happy guy. But if I told you he had 40 touches the week before, you're not too happy. And so that's what happened and Elijah Mitchell had more rushes, I believe. And
he had more red zone touches too. It was like 8 to 5, which is an ideal.
And McCaffrey played more snaps.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell was only out there for 40% or 30% of the snaps. So that's where it's concerning of just like, you know, how much focus was on Mitchell when he was on the field.
Right. Let's Dave, I'm gonna send you what do you guys want to do? Let's put together a nice little lounge parlay here. Let's do anytime touchdowns. I'm gonna send Dave $10. And we're gonna do 3 anytime touchdowns, and we're gonna see if we can make some money here.
Okay.
I'll pull up my app, Dave, if you want to throw some out. But if you guys like somebody for an anytime touchdown, let's put it together here. Let's see if we can't make some money. And if we win, we'll give it away. We'll give it away to one of our followers on YouTube.
That's good to me.
All right, so pulling up to pick them here. Anyone from the Browns and Buffalo to get an anytime touchdown feels like that should be a Devin Singletary, Stephon Diggs type of situation. Do we trust anybody else? Although I'm not seeing any of those guys for anytime touchdowns.
Yeah,
I see Diggs has one.
And Singletary had 2 touchdowns last week, and that's like 2 more than he's had every other week.
They're not even giving us the option for him.
Yeah, I think you don't chase the points on that one. But Stephon Diggs, I'll take that one.
High confidence for the rest of the pack, though. What do you think, Andrew? That's just the first game that I'm looking at, so I'm just going down the list here. So it doesn't mean you have to we have to lock this one in.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Singletary and Diggs can both score, so I'm cool taking either one of those guys, to be honest.
Dave, you don't have your tip option open on Twitter. Come on, man. What the hell? Get your tips going so people can send you money for your feet picks. Come on now.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Unreal. All right. So we'll say Diggs is on the short list. No one else from that game that we like? No one from Cleveland?
I mean, really, the only guy that I feel that you could even bet on would be Chubb, but
right.
I don't really like that.
Okay. He does have the one. All right, we got Stephon Diggs so far. Let's see. Of the Eagles and the Colts, feels like that one should be JT.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, look at what the Commandos did on the ground last week. Why wouldn't we like JT this week?
Well, they did just get Sue. And they got, oh my God, who's the old dude
off the street?
He's a big ass body.
Landville Joseph. That who you're talking about?
They got Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh.
I think that they got embarrassed 2 weeks in a row by the Texans and the Commanders on the ground. I don't think that they are going to want that to happen again. So I think that they're going to try to force Matt Ryan to have to throw it and just make sure that JT does not go hog wild on them. I would rather take one of the Eagles pass catchers, whether it's Smith or AJ Brown. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I'd go with AJ Brown. Smith, he's great between the 20s, but he's not as much of a red zone target. AJ Brown is the big play guy.
Underdog says no way. They're not allowing it. No AJ Brown TD prop. So he must be getting it.
Yeah, it's a good one when they're like, no.
Yeah, right. No prop for AJ Brown, none for Sanders on the TD. So let's just keep rolling.
Okay.
They don't have one for David Montgomery. They are pissed. Anyone from the Falcons that we like?
Patterson.
They don't have any.
Okay.
I think Pitts is interesting as well.
I fired him up in one of my underdog lineups with a Mariota stack just to play the numbers, just to try and get some odds in my favor. Yeah, actually, I'm looking here at the Bears and Atlanta on underdog, and I don't see any anytime TDs for anybody. Not even Mariota or Fields, but I guess that makes sense because they're, again, probably going to get one here. Jamal Williams doesn't have one. This plan isn't really working out that well.
Just skip down to Kelsey. He's going to score a touchdown.
Or we're taking Kelsey.
If it's available, yes.
All right, let me take a look here because I'm just going to scroll right to that one. Of course, it's like at the very end of the damn list.
No, it is the last game, so.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
At least on Sunday. Yeah, he has to be minus odds. I mean, I'm showing him here at minus 130.
That's actually pretty friendly.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think he scored 2 last time. I know he scored the game winner last time they played.
Yeah, and I would take Christian McCaffrey.
They are not offering one for Kelsey. Man, they're just not letting us have any fun right now. All right, so based off of the disparity here, we're definitely locking in Stephon Diggs.
Okay.
We're locking him in because, man, they are just not letting us have any fun with the TD props here.
Do they have anything on the Steelers-Bengals game by any chance? Boyd or Freiermuth are interesting to me.
Yeah, I like both tight ends actually in that game. I like Freiermuth and I like Hurst. If you look at the numbers, for some odd reason in week 1, Hurst and Freiermuth were both in that matchup, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati round 1 this season. They were both targeted quite a bit. I think Hurst had 8 targets and Freiermuth had 10 in that game. Albeit Mitch was the quarterback, right? So I mean, there's a bit of a change there. Sorry, I'm still trying to scroll to that Steelers game. Let's see here. Ooh, man, even Terry McLaurin, like that's a better matchup, and they don't have a TD prop for him. Like Houston's allowed the 3rd fewest fantasy points to wide receivers. I figured that one would have been available, and one I still would have targeted because he played well last week up against the Eagles, who have pretty good defense, at least in the air. All right, Najee Harris, no touchdown prop. Jalen Warren, no touchdown prop. Deontay, none. Pickens, none. Freiermuth, none.
What about Saquon?
Where are the Giants? That's a 1:00 game.
Yeah, they have 8 1:00 games now. Like, they got to take one of those and put it at the 4:00. There's just too many games to watch at 1:00.
How many at 4:00? 3 or 2?
I think 3. Hold on. Let's see. 1.
That's pretty normal to have just 3 at the 4:00.
2, 3. I know, but I would wish that they would just split it up just one more. I mean, I have enough TVs down here to watch 4 at the same time.
Well, not all of us do, Andrew. Not all of us have a billion TVs, bro.
Well,
Barkley. All right, we have to revert off of the touchdowns. we need something else because we can't find any more. I don't know. I don't understand what the deal is here. We have Diggs.
What about the Commanders Texans? Any ones in there?
That one I struggled with because I immediately went to that and was like, oh, one of the running. And then I'm like, wait, it's going to be Gibson or is it going to be Robinson?
I actually think they could both score with McLaurin as well. I mean, McLaurin, no Stingley there now. Terry's about to eat.
I think
none of them have touchdown.
I actually just picked up and started Heineke because I have Geno Smith and Tom Brady on a bye. So I picked up Heineke to start him this week. And my only concern with that is like the Giants last week ran the ball 40 times. They're just going to run all over Houston because you can. You don't have to put the ball in harm's way by throwing it.
Was last week the week that Barkley had 36 touches?
Yep.
36 carries. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I took Barkley, 101 in one of my, underdog best balls this week. But are we buying that he's going to have, let's say, 25 plus touches off a 36 touch week?
100%.
That's a lot of touches.
Yep, 100%. Especially with that win coming in now. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's how they win this game.
The offensive line has been playing really well, and their strength is run blocking, especially with Evan Neal on the right side. So they've been doing really well, and they got a couple linemen back from injury, and they just been running like 6 linemen, and they'll do max protect and throw it deep a couple times, but they'll run 6 linemen and just move the pile, and Barkley's picking up 5-6 yards chunk.
All right, so I've made an executive decision to pivot off of the touchdowns. We're going interceptions. We're going interceptions. First nomination, Derek Carr.
Seems safe.
Yeah, that seems safe.
All right.
Give me Stafford for 500.
Exactly. Now let's find some more to attack here. Let's look for Kenny Pickett. Let me see if we got one for Kenny. Or Davis Mills. Davis Mills not offering.
What about Matt Ryan?
Baker Mayfield.
Let's
1,000.
see. We might be able to put 5 into this one. No, for Baker. Baker's only prop is 169 passing yards. Sorry.
God,
That's it. That's it.
Matt Ryan or Jameis Winston? Either one of those guys?
Jameis Winston isn't playing, is he?
Yeah, you have to go Dalton.
Yeah, you have to go Dalton.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
they are not allowing Matt Stafford, so he's not on the list. And we can't get Dalton either. They're not giving it to us.
Matt Ryan's a good one against the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can pull up Ryan. So
I do think it's going to be a big Paris Campbell week. Avonte Maddox is out, and they're giving so many points to the slot. And it's just basically a funnel defense where you cannot throw anywhere else but the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. And that's where like tight ends and slot guys are eating up.
So they're not offering one for Ryan. What do you guys think about Brissett? He does have one.
I mean, that's not bad. They're going to be chasing points, or they should be at least chasing points in this. So, yeah, I mean, that one's not bad.
All right, so we got Brissett. We got Carr. That's 3. What about Fields or Mariota?
I don't know.
Fields threw that duck up against Detroit. They do have one available for Fields, but, man, it's been QB1. It's tough to hate on the dog.
Yeah, plus they want to run the ball so much, like it's I don't know. What about Kirk?
Kirk? What time's the game?
4:25.
Ooh.
Against the Cowboys. Yeah, I could see you can see Diggs has 2 interceptions and lets Justin Jefferson get 300 yards receiving.
Do we want to make that stand? It's available.
I personally like that, yeah.
Should we also throw Dak in there?
Both have a.
It's just one of those games. I really wouldn't.
This is the problem. You get so many different. You end up with 10 legs because you could throw Daniel Jones and Jared Goff into this. I do like Jared Goff, especially with the weather.
Goff is available. Let's fire up Goff for sure. Yeah,
that the Giants, like under Martindale, is just a different defense, and they're attacking, and Goff does not do well under pressure.
All right, so right now we've got Brissett, Goff, Carr, and Cousins. That's a foursome. 10 pays 100. Do we want to dive back in? Do we want to get one more?
Let's do one more.
All right. You got those written down, Dave? Because I got to send you the money to do it. It's not legal in this state.
Wait, and this is an underdog TD parlay or DraftKings?
Interception, underdog.
Okay. So I got Goff.
Brissett. Carr. Cousins. Interceptions. And if we want to do one more, I'm down.
There's a couple of candidates I'm considering. Davis Mills.
Dan Jones doesn't have one for reference.
Zach Wilson.
Where are the Jets at?
Patriots.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Okay. No, I mean, when I say that, I'm just like looking at my phone. Zach Wilson doesn't have one. You had mentioned Mills. I don't think he has one, but let me check.
Does Mac Jones have one?
I don't think Mac Jones had one, no. But I will go back. No, Mills does not have one. Let me go back and check for Mills. Well, yeah, a lot of these dudes should. Mac Jones does not have one. Let's see.
Does Andy Dalton have one?
Does Andy? I don't think he did. Yeah, he doesn't, because I saw Matt Stafford didn't have one, and yes, Andy does not have one.
You said Mariota earlier.
Yeah, he doesn't have one. Him and Fields both do not have one. I believe that Mahomes and Herbert. No, just Mahomes.
Man,
it's tough. Jimmy doesn't even have one. Just Joe Burrow has one.
Do we know? Is it going to be Kyler or?
It's not on the card. They don't have it. They don't know. We don't know.
All right, you send those 4 over, and if you come up with anything else, send it over. I'm gonna hop on. I gotta hop on another show real quick.
Yep.
Bernie, let me know if you need anything. Andrew, good talking.
Pleasure, man.
Good luck this week, everybody.
All right. Yes, so sir. if we get it, that's $10 or $100 to somebody in the chat today. I'll keep it to that.
Sounds good.
All right. Cool. All right. And yeah, send me your Venmo too.
Will do.
All right. All right, we got a trade question in the chat here. We got Stephen Grice. Appreciate you, Stephen. Trade question offering me DK for Jeff Wilson. My roster is I have Eckler, yeah, I'd do that in a heartbeat, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
1,000%. That's an easy one, bud. I mean, I like Jeff Wilson too. Don't get me wrong, but he's still going to split work with Mostert. That's still going to be a thing. So, yeah, that's an easy one for me, bud. All right, cool. Let's go back to some starter sits. I'm going to hit up Sebastian here, see if he's coming on for some injury talk here. Or actually, we can just jump into that, and we'll kind of pivot off of both. We'll do the game time decision start sit questions. So let's see. If you haven't been following along, guys ruled out this week. Juju Smith-Schuster, Jerry Jeudy, Jamar Chase, of course, still Corey Davis. Game time decisions. You still got guys like David Njoku, Gerald Everett, DeAndre Hopkins. Let's start with David Njoku. Are you willing to fire him up off of the injury? Are you willing to get him back into the lineup this week?
I'd rather not. If you really don't have other options, then yeah, I think it's okay. But I would obviously prefer to not do that. I'm not a big advocate of playing dudes coming back from injury like that, especially when they've been out multiple weeks. So I would prefer not to, but worst comes to worst, I think it's an okay play, but I'd rather pivot to somebody else. I'm trying to think of who, if Trey McBride's out there, I'd rather play Trey McBride over him.
Okay. I like that.
Foster Moreau is interesting as well. They're going to have a plethora of guys maybe out or not 100%. So that's somebody else I'd probably play over him. Man,
what if you have the Eagles tight ends, any of the Eagles tight ends, any of the Detroit tight ends, or David Njoku? Who do you go with?
I mean, I think that's a good question. Oh man, I think you go Njoku over those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because honestly,
right.
It could be on the Lions or the Eagles. It could be any of their tight ends. It doesn't have to be Stoll or Mitchell. It could be any of the guys. So yeah, I'd rather just go with knowing that at least Joku's probably going to get a couple targets. Maybe he catches. He could be one of those guys that gets 3 targets and just catches 1 for a touchdown, and that's really all you're going to need from any of those guys. So yeah, I'd rather play Njoku over any of the plethora of the Eagles or Lions tight ends.
Yeah, obviously a tough situation. Another name that I would pivot onto if you're in issue with like if you had Ertz, if you had Goddard, if you have guys on bye is Juwan Johnson, who's had a pretty safe floor for the Saints. I'm using him as a fill-in this week for Dallas Goedert in hopes that somebody else will pop up on the waivers, because I don't know how I'm going to survive that situation to end the year. That's so tough. Let's see what other names we have that we're dealing with injury. Let's go with some expected to play. Zeke Elliott coming back to the lineup here. Ooh. How do you feel about getting him into your lineups?
No. I already saw this morning that they said that they're going to ease him back in. It's going to be pretty much Tony Pollard, who gets at least 85% of the touches. So yeah, I would definitely not be playing Zeke today.
Okay. What about Mike Williams and Keenan Allen? Who are you more likely between the two to get into your lineup? Who do you feel is safer coming off of the injuries?
Man, probably Keenan, only due to the fact of I think his injury was a little less concerning, overall. Now it does suck that he has been expected to play and then not playing, so there's a real possibility of a re-aggravation during the game. But I mean, I'd rather go Keenan, I guess, but I'd rather steer clear of both of those guys if possible.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, you'd like to stay off of them. I have to start Mike. I have to start Keenan. I don't have them in both. I don't have both of them in the same league type of situation. But if you got them, more than likely you got to fire them up here. Let's see who else. I was going to ask if you're interested in starting any Detroit receivers, but I don't think so, other than Amon-Ra.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Yeah, and again, I think Amon-Ra has a very big day. I think this is a potential 2-touchdown kind of game for him.
Man, I really needed that last week. That's for sure.
Oh God, yeah, that would have been nice.
Oh my goodness. Let's look at some more deep plays here. I'm going to my 20-man league where I started Christian Watson. That was so sweet.
Oh, nice.
I guess I also started Danico Autry, who had a block field goal or something, or no, it was a block pat, and then he left the game. So it's that was cool. Appreciate you, brother. Make an awesome play and then just leave. No. Those guys are on bye. Yeah, you start sit questions. Any lineup stuff that you're dealing with? I'm literally just going through my lineups here and looking for some interesting.
My biggest one we talked about, the Cole Kmet Andrews. I did just see Underdog sent a notification saying that Andrews is definitely active, which obviously we knew that. I wish that they would say, hey, yeah, they said that they're going to use him.
He also feels great.
Yeah. So that's a tough one for me. Hold on, let me pull up in some lineups here and see if I have a good one for us. I mean, here, so pick one out of these receivers for a flex. Actually, here I'll throw out a couple different things, but for a flex, Olave, Gibson, Michael Pittman, Devontae Smith, any of those guys.
Olave still is the top option for me. What was the second one you said?
It would have been Olave and then Gibson, Pittman, Devontae Smith.
Gibson is the only one that I would pivot off of. I like Smith too, but Gibson has that really juicy matchup, and just the usage that we saw from him and Robinson in that last game up against the Eagles, it feels like that's going to be their focal point going forward. Hey, let's put the ball on the ground. Let's push it down the field, protect poor quarterback play. I just think that would be a home run there. It'd be tough for me to. That's the only way I'd get off Olave. I still think Olave is the answer, but the only way I'm getting off of him is for Robinson or for Gibson. Or another running back that has a juicy matchup, whatever.
In this league, for my second RB, Brian Robinson or Gibson?
Oh God, I go Gibson just because I think he's better. But the guy that scores the touchdown is going to be the one that has the most fantasy points, and trying to pick who that's going to be is going to be really difficult. I go Gibson on the firm belief that he's the better running back. Okay.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I have Robinson in only because they just gave him 20 something rush attempts against the Eagles.
But the efficiency, that's what I look at, is just the lack of efficiency from his game overall.
Yeah, I could just see this being a game where they're ahead. They want to get Brian Robinson more involved. Hopefully he can get it clicking a little bit more with more yards per carry. So I could see them giving him the ball much more than Gibson. Plus Gibson did hurt his knee. I know they said he logged 2 full practices, which is great. Yeah, that's a tough one for me right there. And this is PPR, which leans towards Gibson, but I don't know. I just feel like Robinson might get almost double the work that Gibson does, just due to the fact of I don't think they're going to be behind in this game.
Right.
Let's see what else I got here.
One that I'm dealing with is we mentioned both of these names already. It's a double flex, and I'm already starting Kelsey. I was going back and forth between Skoranek and Njoku. We've talked about both those guys.
I'd probably go Skoranek just because I don't know if Njoku can handle a full workload yet. Are they going to ease him back in a little bit? That would be my only concern with Njoku in that is that I don't know if he's going to play as many snaps as you want him to be in your lineup.
Is Ben Skoranek just going to come out here and just be the next Cooper Kupp or what? I was very surprised by his usage early in the season. It was just can't spell this guy's name, can't pronounce it. They've said his name enough now where I've been able to catch up. So
yeah, I could definitely see him being pretty decently involved in this game. I do think he is behind the pecking order of Allen Robinson and Higbee, but that third pass catcher is where it's going to be interesting. Is it him? Is it oh my God, his name just literally escaped me. Yeah, Van Jefferson. Thank you. Yeah, is it going to be him? So I take the shot on Skoranek over Njoku just due to the fact of at least he's healthy. He's not come off an injury, so that's.
We got Jake in the chat.
Yeah, big
Jake in the chat. This is a tough one, Jake. We've just got done kind of talking about Mike Williams, if we're trusting him coming back. I would like my answer here to be Mike Williams and Darius Slayton, but we've even talked about the weather in New York, about, you know, that being able to potentially affect the deep ball for Slayton. Those two feel like the correct answers, but I mean, it might wind up being Hunt and Algier for all I know. Gallup is the one I'm staying off of for sure. Actually, Gallup and Hunt would both be my lowest options here. For me, I would be going between Williams, Algier, and Slayton, in the perception that you're chasing points, right? Like, you're looking for the highest ceilings. Those guys, those three have the highest ceilings to me. It's just tough to start Mike Williams off that injury. So safest floor, I guess I go Algier and Slayton. If you want to go with that big boom option or potential, Mike and Slayton. What do you think?
Well, the problem with Slayton, again, you know, right, is that we just saw the weather report is that it's 15 to 22 mile per hour winds potentially. So I don't know. I mean, that's tough. Slayton's one of those guys that they like to air it to downfield. That's not going to go very well if they're airing it at 22 mile per hour winds. So I'm not sure I would take that side of it. If Mike Williams plays, if they say he's full go, fine, then I play Mike Williams just due to the fact of they're going to be chasing points. I actually don't mind Hunt. I agree with you. I don't want to be on Gallup at all in this game. I might go Hunt, just thinking that they're chasing a lot of points. They've already given Nick Chubb his due diligence in the game. You know, they might pass it to Hunt a couple times out of the backfield. Algier's interesting. That's the one that I'm not sure what to do with. Like, he's getting opportunities, but at any given moment, they could just slide in Huntley and Patterson and just leave Algier on the bench. Yeah, Jake, you got a tough one here, buddy. Gun to my head, I guess I go Mike Williams and Hunt. Man. Do we think that they can potentially use Slayton in a shorter ADOT today due to the wind? Is that a potential?
It is, because Wan'Dale Robinson is questionable. And Wan'Dale Robinson's been the low ADOT guy. Slayton's been the high ADOT guy. So, but like, you know, Dave was mentioning earlier, like he actually took a deep one last week too off of a short target. So it's really tough to say. I trust Slayton to be on the field a lot. I trust Williams and Hunt to be on the field a fair amount, and kind of a same situation for Algier. Like, those last three are kind of in, you know, similar scenarios here.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, damn it.
Like, Slayton's going to be on the field the most of any of these guys. Even Gallup is having issues staying on the field right now. So
yeah, I mean, that's true too. At least you could have the opportunity of him being on the field and potentially getting something that he can break long. So yeah, you know what? I guess Slayton and Williams, unless Williams is maybe not 100%, then I probably go Hunt at that point.
Good luck with that, Jake. That's going to be a tough one. We got Vito in the chat. Appreciate you, Vito. We got Jan Dotson, Josh Palmer, or Ben Skoranek. Seems like Ben's been the name of the show.
Damn, that is tough too. If one of Williams or Allen doesn't play, I probably go Palmer. If not, then probably Jesus.
Sounds like they're going to play though.
I would love to say Dotson here, but this is only his second week back from injury. He only got, I think, 3 targets last week, 3 or 4. Oh, and I do think they're going to be up in this game and they can just run the shit out of the ball if need be. Yeah, I guess Palmer first if one of those guys are out. If not, then probably Skowronek. I don't know. Actually, Gerald Everett's out, right? Or is he's
not out. He came up as a late questionable, Mark. I have no idea. I mean, I'm pretty much starting him regardless of the situation, because who do I have? I think it's those Eagles tight ends are my only options. I think that's what it is. Let me see where I have him at. Or if we have an update on Mr. Everett. Downgraded to questionable. Groin, downgraded. Week 11. Practice in full on Friday. Initially left off the end of the week injury report, but it appears he suffered some type of setback. Yeah, so nothing clear just yet. Even if he were to be out, I mean, I don't know if that just, you know, throttles Palmer enough, in my opinion. Feel like Skoranek's going to be on the field a lot.
Yeah, that's probably the play then. You know, I mean, like I said, I do think Dotson could be a potential touchdown candidate. But I mean, outside of that, I don't think he's going to get many opportunities.
Right. All right, let me see what else I can find here for some stranger shits. Appreciate everybody in the chat riding with us today. Hey, you know what? DJ Shark is back. Any love? I forgot DJ Shark is back, returning off the IR.
Probably not.
I gotcha. Is there a doctor in the house?
Hey-o.
Hey, what's up, gentlemen?
How we doing? How we doing?
Not bad, not bad. Almost that time. We're
almost that time indeed. Well, right now it's time for you to tell us what injury players were allowed to start and which ones were not.
Yes. All right. So why don't we start over in Baltimore? Looks like Gus Edwards is out with that hamstring still, so it was kind of touch and go based on his pregame warm-ups. Looks like he's out. So Kenyon is probably going to take the bulk of the loads there. Mark Andrews is going to play as well as Lamar Jackson. So Lamar missed practice Friday because of an illness. And then Andrews has just been kind of coming back from both the shoulder, knee, both minor things. But, since they were compounded, it was a little bit worrisome. Both those guys should be good to go. I think you got to start both Lamar and Mark Andrews. And then I think Kenyon Drake's actually a pretty decent fill there. Right, I'm assuming that based on game script, the Panthers aren't going to really be able to hang with them, so probably going to be running the ball a ton. Then let's go. We got some possibly good news in Los Angeles with their wide receivers. We've been talking about Keenan Allen. They're both expected to pay at this point. I think Mike Williams is definitely going to pay. I'd say Keenan Allen, he keeps kind of leaving it like he wants to play, but it's up to the trainers ultimately. He's kind of giving himself that caveat, like out already. So I wouldn't be too sure. I really wouldn't feel comfortable starting either guy. Mike Williams coming off a high ankle sprain. That's usually like a 4 to 6 week recovery. He's on week 3, so he's pushing a little early. If you're in a desperate spot, I definitely start him over Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's someone that, we've seen he tried to come back a couple weeks ago. He played like maybe a quarter and was out, right? So you don't want to risk that big of a kind of a clunker there. What you guys already talked about a few?
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you about Gerald Everett. He's coming off of a last minute injury designation, and we were just kind of discussing him. Says it's a groin issue. Is there anything there that we should be overly concerned about? Can I just kind of leave him in the lineup and just kind of worry about the consequences later, or is this a desperate I need to pivot off of him type of situation?
I would strongly suggest pivoting offense because so he was active, right, and he'll probably be active, but it was reported that he was downgraded to questionable yesterday. So that's never a good sign, right? The day before, if they're having a downgraded status, even if it is to questionable. And groin injuries, just like hamstrings, those soft tissue things, it could be you feel good, and then one play you make a cut, and then you're done. You're out for a couple weeks, right? So I would actually. Yeah, I would try to pivot off him, and that's tough too because you could be the point where that's the night game. So if he's inactive, you could kind of screw yourself there from your 1 p.m.s, right? So I would recommend go ahead and pivot off him, and if if Williams and Allen come back too, that target share is going to go down anyway. So yeah, I actually do not have that much confidence in Gerald Everett this week.
Monday night game, we got. Concerns about Kyler, about D-Hop. Give us some more insight on this situation and if we should be moving off of those guys.
Yeah, Kyler with his hamstring injury, he's still questionable, right? That's a tough position. I really think, a lot of what makes Kyler special is his running ability, right? That's kind of pretty obvious. And with that hamstring, he's going to be more reluctant to run. And against the 49ers defense that, Bosa's back, and they got a pretty good pass defense. He'd probably be best if he could run, right? And so him not being 100%, I wouldn't really trust him there. And I also think the Cardinals got a win with Colt McCoy last week. They may not feel like they need to press, that they need to put Murray in. So I would kind of, even if he does play, I wouldn't put a lot of hopes in them. Depending on how deep your league is, you may not have a lot of options, right? It may either be Kyler Murray, or you just make sure you bank Colt McCoy to at least get something if he can't go on your 3. But I wouldn't have a lot of faith in him. Marquise Brown is coming back, though. It looks like he's got pretty good plans to play. He fractured his foot, and people thought it was going to be a lot worse. It was actually just kind of a small break, and all he had to do was let it rest up. So he's actually he looks like he can come back in and do pretty well. So I would I think he maybe give him a week to see how he does. But if you're looking for someone that you need, I think Marquise Brown, actually Hollywood, might be a pretty good option for them going forward. He had a lot of that target share before when D-Hop was suspended.
Okay. Any questions you have, Andrew, off the top of your head?
Yes, Mark Andrews. What do we do there? Is he going to play the whole game? Is my biggest concern.
I think so. I'm right there with you. Yeah, I've been waiting for him to come back. I'm saying a little prayer before I put him in my lineup, but I'm sending him in my lineup. He's been so reliable throughout his career. I think that having that bye week, he'll be all right. Neither of the injuries seemed to it's basically I think he's got an AC sprain in his shoulder and then a minor sprain in his knee. Those both should be fine, right, off the bye week. And a lot of what he does is he's a big possession receiver. He doesn't really need to be flying down the field or anything like that. I think game script is honestly what could hurt the most. There is, the Ravens do like to put points up on the board when they can against inferior opponents. So you should be pretty good there. I would have some confidence in Andrews. Yeah, I think we'll see how Lamar feels too, because I know I got him, but he's also someone you gotta roll him out there if he's playing. So
okay, yeah. So the question for me is Andrews or Cole Kmet. So you still think Andrews is the go-to guy there?
And they're playing. Remind me who they're playing. The Falcons, right?
Yep.
Damn. I really think both guys could be successful. That's a very nice matchup, and the Bears can't stop anything, so they got to score a bunch of points too. I would still lean. I would go Andrews, but I wouldn't. It wouldn't be crazy as where if you asked me a couple weeks ago, like Cole Kmet or Andrews, it wouldn't be a question. I still go Andrews, but Cole Kmet's not a bad option right now. They're looking pretty good the past couple weeks.
Yeah. Yep. No.
Chat, sit tight. We're going to get to some starter sit questions here shortly. Just a few more injury questions we want to go through. DJ Shark, we just got done talking about him a little bit. We may not trust him coming back this week, but what do you think about the outlook for him down the stretch of the season? And do you trust him this week?
Yeah, they're playing my Giants, so I'm not going to say roll them out right there. But no, but Josh Reynolds is ruled out for them, so he's actually can fit in pretty well and kind of start picking up some of that wide receiver 2 work. Obviously, everything's going to run through Williams, Swift, and Amon St. Brown, but I think that maybe not this week, but going forward, I think he showed some signs. I have a lot more faith in him than at the beginning of the year. It's kind of was there for people to have expectations for Jameson Williams coming off the ACL and a rookie. Right, so I think you'll get more work out of him. I would wait a week, like you were saying, kind of see how he meshes back in. But we'll see because the Lions looks like they can put points up when they're at home, but away, it's pretty crazy. I was looking at some of their stuff just because they're playing the Giants this week, but like when they're away, their offense, particularly Jared Goff, looks like trash compared to when they're home. They're really moving in that dome. So with them playing in New York this week, I'd probably sit him this week, stash him, see how he does, and then go ahead and maybe roll him out next week.
Hoping to see Josh Allen rolling in that dome this Sunday. How do we feel about firing him up? Obviously, didn't look good in the loss, but he looked like he was capable to at least play. Are we concerned about him at all going forward through the rest of the season? We're at week 11 here. Playoffs start in just about, 4 weeks? Just under a month away.
Yeah, no, I would actually, I don't think really any of his where he looked bad had to do with his injury. Like, I'm sure it may be a little bit, but like he was firing that ball. Like,
that's what I felt.
Looked fine to me. So I wouldn't say the injury is concerning at this point. It's just, it's gonna be high variance, right? You're gonna get the 4 touchdowns, but you're probably gonna get 3 turnovers. So you're just gonna have to live with that. No, I really like him this week too because they just moved it to a dome. And Cleveland's defense sucks. So I think they're probably pissed. They've lost 2 weeks in a row, and I think they're gonna really that's gonna be the highest output offense this week, in my opinion.
So let me ask you 2 gentlemen. In a guillotine league, I have Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Lamar Jackson. Who do I play? 6 point for passing touchdowns.
One more time. Lamar who?
Lamar, Jalen Hurts, and Josh Allen.
Wow.
6 point for passing.
6 for passing. Well, I'd probably go Allen then.
Yeah, he's got the high ceiling, right? Still.
Yeah, I think so. Lamar. Yeah, no, I'd go Allen. I don't even think it's that tough. Jalen Hurts has been playing well, but I think the Colts defense is probably the best of those 3 units with the Browns and what's his name? The Browns and who's the Panthers. The Browns and the Panthers. So. Yeah, I'd go Josh Allen.
Again, we're at week 11. We're coming down the stretch here of the fantasy regular season. What's the outlook for Jamar Chase going forward? I know that we kind of touch on this each week with you, but we need to get our updates on our potential wide receiver one.
Yeah. So I don't, from what they're keeping it pretty close to the vest, but this week I saw something that he was still using crutches to get around. So that's
he just shed those today, actually.
Did he shed them today?
Yep,
Okay,
just shed them today.
That's good. It's tough because they still haven't said what the injury is. But if he just is getting off crutches, even if he plays next, he's obviously not playing today. Even if they're going to say he's active next week, I wouldn't trust him until at least 2, probably 3 weeks. Again, it's hard because they just said hip, and it could be a lot in the hip. Is it a labrum thing? Is it like a stress reaction thing? Why is he on crutches? You can't have a lot of faith in him right now, unfortunately. But I think, if he can come back realistically in like 2 weeks, and then you give him that week to figure it out, the Bengals offense misses him. So once he's good to go, he's going to be good to go, right? But unfortunately, you may be best case is like week 1 of playoffs, I would say.
Yeah, I do have some more questions, injury related, but I do want to jump into the chat because I don't want these guys waiting forever here. Because we appreciate our followers, and of course, Sebastian, jump in on these too. Morning, gents, from Trey in the chat. Full point PPR. Appreciate you, Trey. We got start 2, Singletary, Zeke, Carter, or Mitchell. And of course, good luck today. Good luck to you as well. Based off of our conversations thus far, Andrew, I feel like Singletary and Carter are the answers here. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Full point PPR.
Hold on, I'm just checking my rankings.
I would definitely be out on Zeke, right? He's come back from injury, and it's also been reported they're going to give Pollard more work. So if that's already out there, Zeke's probably going to get maybe 10 touches. So I would definitely take him out pretty easily. Singletary's been looking good. Michael Carter should be RB1. They have been using Elijah Mitchell a lot there in San Francisco. That's something to look at, right? With their splits and see. Since he's came back, he's gotten a lot of work. But I think your probably best bet is Singletary and Carter. I would agree.
Yeah, I'd probably go Singletary and Mitchell. I like the matchup much better for Mitchell than I do Carter, but it's very close between the two. So yeah, I have nothing bad to say about Carter outside of the matchup with the Patriots. The Patriots have been very stout with their defensive line. So definitely Singletary for sure. And then between Carter and Mitchell, it's might as well flip a coin on it. But I'd probably just go Mitchell due to the fact of I think it's a little better of a matchup.
Yeah, I do think that Mitchell can find the end zone, but I think that he's gonna need that to make his day, to have a better day than Carter. Because while I do believe Carter won't find the end zone, I think he's gonna get a lot of catches today. Like I would take him over 5.5 catches easily today. The run offense, I just don't think is going to be there for the Jets. They have Carter and Robinson is really the main reason why I believe that he's not going to have a touchdown. Because if they do get down into the red zone, I think Robinson will take the priority. I don't see Michael Carter taking like a big one to the house, but I do feel like he's going to have a safe floor just catching, more than a handful of passes today.
That's a good point. Yeah.
We got Ed Zhang in the chat. Appreciate you, Ed. Choose one RB and one flex. DJ Moore, Rondell Moore, Robinson, Swift, or Mooney. I like Moore and Robinson this week.
You mean Rondell Moore or DJ Moore?
Rondell. Sorry. Excuse me. Rondell.
Yeah, agree. Rondell, just due to the fact of, do we know anything with DeAndre Hopkins there, Doc? Is he gonna? I mean, he's questionable right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything, so I'm assuming he's good to go. Let me do a quick search here to get you a better answer.
I'd probably still go Moore and Robinson. I think if you want to pivot off Moore, if Kyler's not going to play, obviously he did get a shit ton of targets last week, no matter what. So I think Moore's probably the play, but Mooney's actually sneaky here. I'd rather play Mooney over DJ Moore, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I would, but I wouldn't take either of them over Rondell, though.
No.
Rondell's just been too consistent in that offense, and I'm not going to sit here and say he's quarterback proof, but I like him despite whoever starts. Even if D-Hop starts, even if Colt starts, I like him no matter what. I feel like he's matchup proof with his guys.
Yeah, and it looks like so Hopkins is dealing with a little bit of hamstring too, which I never like to hear. But so he missed practice Thursday, but he returned on Friday. So I would, obviously that trending in the right direction, right? So I would expect him to play. He's played through a lot of stuff in his career, so I kind of have a little bit more trust in him. But yeah, no, I agree. You can't trust DJ Moore. I've had him, and he's been so frustrating because he's great, but I mean, you never know. We might as well be throwing on the ball at this point.
He's not playing on the right team, man. Like him not getting moved at the deadline is really what killed his fantasy owners. You know what I mean? Like if he was with the Packers right now, if he was with heck, if he was with the Bears, you know, like if they just wanted to get a head start on next season, they could have made a deal for him. Certainly, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the idea, the concept of Chase Claypool, but why weren't we trying to put that type of stock into getting a guy like DJ Moore who clearly isn't in a good situation, will need a big contract? We're like the perfect fit for that right now. Crazy, but yeah, I mean, there would have been a lot better places where he would have, you know, made the end of our seasons a lot more comfortable, we'll say. Back to some injury questions. Is Dallas Goedert still going to have a role for us in fantasy this year? Like, is he going to get back for the playoffs? You know, can we trust that?
No, you can't trust that.
Damn
no,
it.
He's been they put him on IR really fast. Usually when they put someone on IR that fast, they're like, yeah, it's pretty serious, right? Again, significant shoulder injury doesn't tell me a ton. You know, it could be a collarbone fracture, which is going to take around 6 to 8 weeks. But assuming they put him on IR that fast and that big of a player, it's going to be over 4 weeks typically, right? Because just like Jamar Chase, if they have any shot of coming back before, they'll hold that roster spot. They won't put him on IR right away. So unfortunately, yeah, I would not. You know, there's a chance he could come back for in 6 weeks, and you know, you could be in the championship, whatever. But you can't bank on that. You're going to have to bank on another option.
His name is Juwan Johnson for me. My God.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know what McBride's going to get some opportunities with Ertz being out for the year. Darren Waller's out, so I don't know if you trust Foster, Monroe, or whatever he is. But, yeah, you're going to have to figure something out. Juwan Johnson, yeah.
Are we expecting Juju back next week?
Yeah. Concussions are typically – I mean, well, so I don't want to say yes for sure, but so per the research of the past 10 years, typically 7 days is the timeline. It's obviously gotten a little more light this year, as far as when I say light, it's brought to the spotlight a little bit more with the Tua thing. So they changed the rules a little bit, right? If you even get evaluated for one, you're out for the rest of the game, which obviously is bad for fantasy. I bet that's probably going to change back when, unfortunately, the media stops caring about it a little bit. But typically it's a 1 week thing at most. There are some severe cases where if the guy was unconscious, and it really can affect. Concussions are hard because you never really know. But if we're talking law of averages, yeah, he should be back.
Okay. I see that Damian Harris is no longer on the injury report. Not really someone that we're holding a ton of confidence in fantasy. We're not trying to push him out there. But do you have any perspective on him going forward? You know, could he be a valuable asset down the road as long as he gets the playing time based on health?
Yeah, that's going to be the thing, right? He's definitely someone nice to at least have, because he's really one, injury or one fumble away from being RB1 again with Ramondre over there. And I don't trust Mac Jones at all. So I think the Pats' best way to success is to just run 40 times a game. So I think, yeah, he's definitely got some value. If he can stay healthy with that hamstring, he should be, someone that is definitely at least worth having and just kind of monitoring what the usage is. But I don't think Stevenson's done so well that he's, taken over all of RB1, and there's no shot Harris gets that. I think it's, like I said, one fumble, one minor injury away, then he could be right there and getting 30 carries a game.
Okay.
Some of us may have been holding on to J.K. Dobbins this entire time. Any interest in explaining if we might be able to use him at all this year?
Yeah, he's been tough, right? Because he looks, he had that delay to start the year, which is very typical for ACL. They want to be careful. It wasn't just ACL; it was LCL. He had a big procedure. But anyway, when he came back and now he hurt the knee again, it's a separate injury, right? I think I would say yes, because no one really, again, has taken over that backfield. Kenyon Drake's been getting the carries, but Gus Edwards looked good, but now he's dealing with the hamstring. I think Dobbins is eligible to come back next week, or is it the week after? I think it's next week.
Yeah, it's soon.
Yeah, it's soon. So yeah, no, I would not be totally out on him. I think that, honestly, getting the time to rest and recover is probably better for his ACL anyway. And he looked pretty good when he came back in, and he's going to get the volume. So unless, Gus Edwards comes back and just really starts taking over that backfield, I would definitely hold out some hope there for Dobbins. I think that he actually could be someone who helps to win some championships.
Yeah, so you think that he could be effective once he does come back?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about Justin Jefferson? Any concern about this turf toe? I mean,
I was reading that today. Turf toe sucks. So, I mean, that's obviously, so it's, when you hyperextend your toe essentially from like pushing off, and it just sucks because that's how that mechanism of injury, that's how that injury is created. And that's what you have to do as a wide receiver to like get out of your stance, to sprint, to move. Like, so every time he does that, it's just going to be like really annoying. And like, I'm sure, they'll do some stuff for pain before the game and adrenaline will kick in, but like, can be a very nagging injury. Obviously depends on severity. They said like mild, very mild. So like, that's good. But I'm very curious to see how he's going to play because those injuries, they suck and they don't usually get better. So it's something he's going to like have to deal with. Obviously if this was like a situation where it's Cooper Kupp and he's on a team that is pretty trash and they're not going to make the playoffs, like, yeah, like he can take a couple weeks off. But for the Vikings, they're going to roll him out there. And I think this is a little dangerous. But that being said, he's Justin Jefferson. If he's playing, you have to have him in your lineup. Like you can't. Just in terms of outlook, from the medical perspective, I'm curious how they're going to manage this going on throughout, their playoff run, because it is something that typically doesn't just get better on its own, especially if you're continuing to play.
I have no more injury questions. You got anything, Andrew?
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to seeing if I missed anyone. I mean, Cooper Kupp.
What about Jameson Williams for the Lions? I know he hasn't played it all yet. It's a rookie. When he comes back, you think anything is he worth even holding on to?
Nah, in my opinion, no. From like a human aspect, like I really want to root for him. He had a great career. I think he's gonna be super explosive eventually. But you can't really have any expectations for him. I was telling people before the season, like, I don't understand why he's getting drafted more than like a DJ Chark. Obviously, DJ Chark got injured, so that wasn't that great. But like, they're talking about possibly after Thanksgiving now him returning, but he's a rookie, right? So he has no chemistry. He's not been in the league. It's not like he can fall back on that. And ACLs are just hard to come back from. He's not going to have those couple weeks where you can kind of let him roll. Like if you're trying to play him, you're going to play him like week 1 of the playoffs or leading up to it. Like, this is kind of crunch time. I don't know if he's worth the flyer. I mean, if you really are desperate and you want to but it's really just kind of a prayer at that point. There's no reliability there. Something like Dynasty and something like that, I think he will be good for them going forward. I think he's going to be a great talent, but this year I don't expect him to do much of anything.
I feel like we got a good time to head out here. The chat's starting to turn a little bit. We got this lady asking if we want to go on our Zoom call. Got this guy asking if we've got political affiliations.
Jeez.
Yikes.
All
it's
right.
about that
time. And the witching hour has arrived. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm good to head out for the day, boys, unless you got anything else, Andrew.
Nope. Just if anybody in here likes to play Underdog, there is still a pretty big overlay in their Underdog Battle Royale this week. So if anybody wants to hop in there, there's definitely still spots available. Let's see. It looks like there is, let me just look at the percentage. It's only 87% filled, so still 13% overlay on here. So if anybody wants to hop in, you still got a good 40 minutes to do so.
Stop telling these people, man. I got like 4 or 5 lineups in there. Get out of here. Oh, well, right now. Well, actually, no, all y'all can do that because the top prize is only at 25 right now. So if you could just
that's what it is. They already lowered it down for this week. That's what it is moving forward. I know. Yeah. We have fallen from 50,000 to start the year down to 25. And I know people like that as far as spreading out the money more so, more people can get paid. But I mean, I don't know. The fun part of it is like you want to finish top 5. Like if you don't, then you shouldn't expect to win a bunch of money. So yeah, I was all right.
I finished 49th last week and won $100. So it's not that great. Well, so, Sebastian, I was sitting in first place for probably about 45 minutes. So it's a fucking stressful afternoon.
Yeah, that sounds like it's some time. Damn.
Well, yeah, it's a ride. Let me say, when you're there and you're just camped out and there's no changes. Hey, bud.
Yeah, my son. He's been sitting here the entire time. He's been so good, so quiet.
What a champ.
Now he's like watching the screen. He's like pointing to you guys. Like, yeah, there's other people there.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking to myself.
I'm not talking to myself. Yeah, I'm not crazy.
I swear. All right, good stuff. Well, we're going to head out. Everybody, enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy Week 11. Andrew and I will be back tonight for the Week 11 recap, so be sure to jump in. We'll be here to answer all your questions going forward into Week 12 and for the rest of the season. Take care, be well, and we'll see you later.
See you guys.
Peace out, guys.
Poor guy.